Hi everyone, Les Picker here again, and today I'd like to talk to you about our favorite springtime activity, summer activity, and that is travel. We When we travel to different places, what I've noticed is that so many photographers have a real fear of approaching people to ask them if they can have their picture taken. And that's totally normal, okay? Just approaching strangers, especially in a country in which you don't know the language, it's difficult, it's frightening to do that, and I understand people are put off by that. But if you really want to take good good pictures of people as part of a culture, part of street festivals or various events, it's important that you overcome that fear, if you will, and learn to be comfortable photographing people. So I have some tips here. I also have a blog which expands on these tips, so I'll refer you to that in the description below a little bit later on. But here are some points that I have for you that I think would help in your photographing people and having really successful, good images. And I'll be showing you some of those images as we go along in this talk. The first thing is to recognize that there is a fear if you have that fear, and accept it and try to overcome it by having a positive attitude. I mean, when you approach someone in a fearful sort of manner in which you expect to get a no, I think the people, your subjects will pick that up. So try to approach this in a positive manner, and I think that will help. And of course, smile. I always, when I approach people, I'm smiling. I'm always positive in terms of my approach, and it helps to pick up a little bit of the local language. Maybe putting it on a card, or if you have the Google Translate, you'd explain to people that you're a photographer and you'd like to take their picture. Those things really help. A big thing for me, one that I caution my clients when we're on tour, is to ask permission first. Don't try to take pictures of people surreptitiously or with a long telly hidden behind a corner. That really doesn't work very well, number one. Number two is it can get you in a lot of trouble. I was in the Aswan area of Egypt one time, this is many years ago, when a man tried surreptitiously using a telephoto to photograph a woman. This is not acceptable in many countries that practice Islam. And it got the man into a physical altercation with some other men standing near a ferry landing, and it was very, very dicey for a while. So ask permission. That allows you to do something else. If you establish a rapport with the person, asking permission allows you to get closer to them. And sometimes you can pick up some really wonderful shots using a wide-angle lens, the person in the frame, and with maybe some context in the background. And I have a photo up right now that gives you an example of that. But by all means, ask permission. Another thing I always recommend is if you have this recognizable fear about asking people to take their photographs, practice at home. In your own town, in the nearest city, practice doing that, and pretty soon through practice you get used to the ask, if you will. And speaking of ask, I recommend you coin some phrases, if you will, that will help you make that ask. Like, I really like your smile. Do you mind if I photograph you? Or, I like your dress. I like the native dress with all its color, etc. May I take your photo? And you can have your guide translate for you, or you can again use Google Translate or some words that you may have learned to help that out. But whichever way you go, what I recommend is if the person says no, no means no. Don't take their picture. There are something like 7 billion people in this world. One of them saying no to you doesn't make a hill of beans of difference. So just go ahead and ask the next person or someone involved in a similar craft that's down the marketplace, and I think you'll find that you'll be successful. Another thing I like to do, and I think will help you immensely, is sharing the photo. We're all digital nowadays, or most of us are. Share the photo on the back of your screen, and show people the shots that you take. It creates a bond. One thing that I have been doing lately, which has been enormously helpful, is I'm using cameras that I take with me, like this Instax camera, which is put out by Fujifilm. And what it does is it spits out immediately as soon as you press the shutter these cute little prints right on the spot. It takes about a minute for it to actually develop fully, but then you can give it to the kids you're photographing or the people you're photographing, and you'll be shocked at how it brings other people from around the area to you who also want to have this little memento. They come in packets of 10 refills, cartridges, and it's so easy to use. It pays, and they're relatively inexpensive. I'd recommend that you look at adding this to your photo bag. Similarly, Kodak makes one, and it's known as the Mini Shot. I found this also very effective. It has a similar little tiny print that people can take home with them. And this is very meaningful, by the way, in many societies where cameras aren't as ubiquitous. So I would suggest you do that. So those are some of my hints for the upcoming travel season. I would urge you to go to my website. I just did a blog on this same topic. It's got more information and pictures you can look at on that blog site. But also, I have a 234-page, fully illustrated book, ebook on travel photography. Some of you may know I was awarded the Best Travel Photographer in the Northern Lights Award from Canada. That was very precious to me, but it reflects, I think, a career of photographing travel images throughout the world. So I hope this helped, maybe even a little bit. Look forward to seeing you in the next video. Bye for now.